Happy Halloween a couple days early. I dressed up for you guys. So today we're going to be going over Sewcialites, and then we're going to be talking about some new kits and stuff like that. So I'm going to jump right into Sewcialites. This one's going to be pretty hard. So I would say this one is the second most difficult in the series. I think block number 5 is the most difficult, and we're kind of doing this like experience first and then going easier, and that way as you go along, if you get behind, it's going to be easier to catch up than if we did the harder ones last. And again, I'm going to be stitching some of my blocks 9-inch, some 6-inch, and some 3-inch, and we'll have a setting for that much later. But I did want to let you know, if you are following along today, I'm going to be stitching the 9-inch. So let's talk about this week's block. You can download this on our website for free, fatquartershop.com. And this one does have a lot of cutting. And this block has a 4-patch. It's got some corner squares. Then it has a flying geese with, a flying geese, and then you reverse it and you make it a second flying geese. So you guys, I want to know, and then this is just a 3-patch. Do you want me to make this just like the pattern is written? Or do you want me to show you how you can make this piece, and these 2 corners bigger, and then you trim it down and you have an accurate outside? So we're going to take a poll and see, do you want me to do it as the pattern is or make it bigger to trim down? This block right here is Cinnamon and Cream by Fig Tree. And this one, of course, we've got 4 fabrics. So print 1 are these, and print 2 are these. Print 3 is this fabric, and print 4 is this fabric. So this one is Dwell by Camille Ross Kelly, and this one is Nutmeg by Basic Gray. And so just kind of look at the fabrics and see what you think. We kind of put directional ones here. This one kind of has darks and mediums, and this one has some lights, mediums, and darks. But I'm going to show you our sample maker blocks also. This one is Gray's collection by Sweetwater, and it's 3 inches, and Nova made this one. This one is the Blue Jean collection by Christopher Thompson for Riley Blake, 6 inches, and Angel made that one. This is the Emma collection by Sherry and Chelsea. This one is 6 inches, and Riley made this one. Teresa made all the sample blocks I started with. This collection is Isabella by Minnick and Simpson, and Kenna made this one. And then this one is the 9-inch, The Flower Farm by Bunny Hill, and Teresa made this one. So this should be a good guide to go from. Just kind of look at the color placements each of the sewers picked, and you can decide kind of what you want to do. Like this one, the stripes go different way. This one, they go the same way. This one, they also go the same way. They're just flipped. Some of them have stripes out here. Seems like there's a couple of polka dots. So I would just kind of look at this, take a screenshot, and whichever one you like the best, even if your fabric, say you're doing blue fabric, but you like this placement best, just pick fabrics that are a similar shade, and that should help you. Okay, so you guys have voted that you want me to cut bigger and cut down. Okay, great. So we will do that. The designer this week is Susan Aki, and so we have 24 different designers who are designing these free blocks for you, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the designer. She is a book author and cross-stitch designer, And she designed this block, which is called Tussie Mussy. And that is her block. So she sewed that using pinks and reds from her stash. And she tends to work with Fig Tree fabrics and Minnick & Simpson fabrics the most. So that is her block. She does have a new book coming out from It's So Emma called Summer Memories. And if you go back to that photo real quick and you see those reds, most of what she sews is a red or a blue. And so this is her new book coming out next April. And with that, we're going to have a sew along with this quilt right here, which is a basket quilt, and it's actually 5 different basket blocks. And it's scrappy, so what I decided to do, I'm going to collect pinks, blues, and I'm going to go with the lighter shade of blue. I'm not going to collect navies, but I'm going to collect light blues for that sew along. And then I've got some reds. And so I'm just going to keep a stack of fabrics that I think will work with that sew along. So this is the Isabella collection by Minnick & Simpson. And like I said, she uses a lot of Minnick & Simpson and a lot of Fig Tree. So I bought these and I'm going to collect these, and I'm going to do the sew along scrappy, but you can see she has pinks as some of the points, reds as some of the point, and then she has a lighter blue here, and then she's kind of got a medium in the sashing. And this is an older copy that does not have, let me see, it might have a, yeah, this is an older copy of the book that doesn't have the new photos in it. But just so you know, I'm collecting these, and that's kind of a sneak peek to something we will be doing in the summer of 2023. And then she also has a book that just came out that she designed with co-author Lisa Alexander, and it's 2-of-a-kind quilts. We did a trunk show on this on our channel a couple of months ago. She also she does several boxes. I think she's done like 6 boxes with Aurifil using the Aurifloss. She likes to work with Aurifloss, and so she has several, and this one's on sale, 30% off. We do have a thread sale going on. Some thread is on sale, different percentages. So if you are wanting to stock up on some thread, now would be a good time at Fat Quarter Shop. And then last week, she put out this free cross-stitch pattern called Friends, and it is on the Aurifil blog. And if you're in the Aurifil newsletter, you probably got this. This used one of her thread boxes, and it's a completely free free pattern. But I also wanted to show you this. So that is the free branching out pattern that Susan Aki did with Moda Fabrics earlier in the year. I did a different setting, and that setting free pattern can be found at fatquartershop.com, but I did that earlier in the year. So I just wanted to give you a little history on the designer for this week, again, Susan Aki. And thank you to Teresa for the super chat. And then thank you for people saying you love my piggy outfit. Awesome. So we're going to jump right into the block. And this one is pretty intense. I'm going to put this up here so I can follow it. So first thing I do is I use sticky notes to block out any of the cutting that I'm not doing, because if I don't, I definitely will cut wrong. And we're going to start with our background, and we're just going to go in order. Piggy is doing great. Today he's probably annoyed that it is raining. So this is the right side. This is the wrong side. I always have to double check. So the first thing is we need 4 2 3/4 inch squares. that is going to go right here. But what I'm going to do instead, that is fabric A. So 2 of those are A. So 2 of those I need to cut larger because we're going to cut those larger. Actually, all 4 of these we're going to cut larger. So I'm going to cut them, instead of 2 3/4, I'm going to add a 1/4 inch, which is 3 inches. So if you want to, on these bigger, on the smaller ones, just add a 1/4 inch. So I need 4 2 3/4 inch squares. I'm changing that to 4 3 inch squares. So I will just take a corner of my fabric and cut 6 inches. And then I'm going to subcut this. So those will be my A's. So I've cut my A a 1/4 inch larger. Now you can definitely just cut it the normal size if you don't want to do the bigger. And I am replicating this block. So these are the fabrics I'm using. So fabrics 1 and 2 are my pinks, 3 is my navy, and 4 is my stripe. So we're going to move to fabric B. 6 2 3/4 inch squares, and those are going to be cut normal because those are corner squares, and so you can't make those bigger. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to try to get them from 1 strip. I don't think I'm going to get them from 1 strip. I think I'm going to have to do 2. Okay, so 2 3/4. I think there's 2 blades in here. Let me see. Yeah, there's 2 blades in there. Sorry, I was like, that's cutting weird. Haha, that's funny. I didn't do it. I'm not gonna say who did. That's so funny. Okay. Okay, that's funny. Okay, so that was why I was like, why is it cutting funny? Okay, 2 3/4, 2 3/4. I'm gonna have to do 1 more. Now I'm gonna put these right side up so I don't have to worry about that later. And I'm going to cut 2 from here. So 2 3/4 plus 2 3/4 is 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut that from here. That did not work. Okay. And this is going to be part of your flying geese, just so you know. Okay, so those are my bees, and I'm going to put them right side up. So I'm going to just double check to make sure I've got it right side up. Okay, so that's my bees. Okay, fabric C. We need 1 1 5/8 by 2 3/4 inch rectangle, and then we need a 1 5/8 inch square. So what I'm going to do is cut that from right here. I don't think I can get both, but we'll try. So from here, this is where, if you're using the Primitive Gatherings itty bitty rulers, it will help. But to cut 5/8, you count past the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is that ruler, just so you can see. I generally just use this, but the person who's the sample maker, Teresa, used the itty bitties, so it's always an option. And that's what I think is great about quilting. Everybody does it different. So right there you see my ruler's not all the way to the top. Okay, so this is 2 3/4, and then I'm going to do 1 5/8. Okay, and that is in the salvage. Can we zoom into that? That's in the salvage, so I'm not going to use that. So we're going to look real quick and see, just so you can see the salvage. Now, could I use it? Probably. But you can see the little dots. The dots that are in the salvage. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to throw that away and start over. And then cut, and I'm just going to cut like a little square off of here. Hopefully I haven't miscut today. 1 5/8. So you guys can let me know if you have tried Lisa Bonjean's rulers and what do you think? And if you're going to try them on this sew along or not. So this is D. Again, right side up. It's kind of hard to tell right side up with this hoodie on my head. Okay, so fabrics E and F and G and H are cut the same. And I put that note right here. So I always put little notes. Oh, actually I was supposed to cut C and D larger. Oops, I didn't read my notes. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to cut C and D larger. 1 5/8 by 2 3/4. So I need to look at where that goes. So I'm going to cut C 1/4 inch larger on both sides. So I'm going to cut it 2 by 3. Now that I just showed you how to cut, well, at least I showed you how to cut the right way. So I'm going to cut that 2 by 3. And that's a tiny bit bigger on one side, but it's fine because we're going to cut it down. So this is actually easier to cut. So I'm going to do 2 by 3 for C. And for D, I'm just going to do 2 inches just to make it easy. So there's my, I'm trying to make sure I've got the right side. Okay, so there's C and D. Now I'm going to move to E and F. And like I said, I'm using 2 different pinks. You could do all the same color if you wanted to, but I like the different colors. And these we're going to cut exact because these are corner squares and rectangles. So this is the salvage right here, so I'm not going to put that there. I'm going to put the salvage with the salvage of the other one. So both salvages are up here, then I don't have to worry about cutting into it. And here I need a 2 3/4 by 5 and a 2 3/4 square. So I'm going to cut a little rectangle off here. And hopefully that'll be enough. I love the rulers so much, lighter to move around. Oh, I didn't know they were lighter. So 2 3/4. They're very accurate. Yes, they are definitely very accurate. Is there a size yet for the multiple size block design? Still trying out? No, we will not have that for quite a while. But if you want to do that, all you have to do is buy the fabric requirements for the largest and you'll have enough, and we will figure out the rest later. So that's a 5 inch and this is 2 3/4. Okay, so now I'm going to put these on the board and label them. So let's see. E and F, G and H, and I'm going backwards. I'm just going this way, and that's fine because it's okay. So print 3 is my darker print, and the reason we picked that is it really contrasts the pink. So if you did like pink, 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 that would not look good. So whatever you pick for print 3, make sure it contrasts if that's the look you're going for. Okay, so navy, print 3 is, let's see, I needs to be cut exact. So I'm gonna go one by one. So I'm gonna cut exact, which is 2 3/4 by 5. This is the salvage. I'm just gonna move that to the front, to the top, just so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, 1 5/8, 2 3/4 by 5. And I'm talking to myself, but this is what I do in my sewing room. So I'm just talking to y'all now. What background fabric is that? That background is 55276-32. It is from the Dwell collection, which is arriving next week. So 2 3/4 by 5. So that is going to be I. Now my J, I put a note that it's larger, so let's see where the J goes. The J does not need to be larger, actually, so that's going to be 2 3/4. Two and 3/4. And it stopped raining, but it might, if just so you know, if you start hearing a lot of noise, it's the rain. It is stormy, stormy here. So that's J, and then let's see what K is. K is a 1 5/8. We're gonna cut that 2 inches. So that's one that's similar. We're gonna cut it 2 inches. Actually, we're not. We're gonna cut it, yeah, we're gonna cut it 2 inches. And don't worry if you make a mistake doing the larger method. I kind of came up with this recently, and I still make mistakes doing it. So there is K. And then for L, these two, we're going to do 2 3/4 inch squares, but we're making that bigger. So we're going to do 2 3-inch squares. Again, I'm going to put the salvage out of my way. Will you be getting any more by Annie patterns? I like a place for everything and running with scissors. I'll email that to myself and order that today. So a tip here is I want my horizontal, let's see if I can make it work. Yeah, I want something on my ruler that's going to line up with that stripe so that it comes out somewhat straight. So I'm going to line up here a 45-degree on that line just because I want it to look symmetrical. And I'm going to cut 3 inches. And if that was a white, I might have just stacked it and cut, but since it's a stripe, I want it to look nice. So yeah, I think Dwell is arriving next week from Moda. Okay, so there's my 3-inch. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to lay out everything on a separate design board, and we're going to build the block and move from one design board to the next with the steps. Okay, so I was supposed to cut 2 eyes, I think. Yeah, I was supposed to cut 2 of these. I only cut 1. Mistake number 1. Okay, let me cut that real quick. 2 3/4 by 5. And believe it or not, guys, I actually do look at the pattern before we start. Okay. I had to buy 2 fat 8s of Beautiful Day for a quilt. Should I starch the fat 8s? Yes, I starch everything, but that is a personal question. It's totally up to what you like. How do I decide which fabrics to cut larger and which to leave? I'm cutting anything on the corners bigger. Now, flying geese you cannot make. You could make bigger, but that's way too complicated. So I'm just doing the easiest, the corners. Okay, so now we're gonna go to I again, and we're gonna put I here and I here, and we're gonna add fabric bees on the corner. So I'm gonna take 4 fabric bees, draw on the wrong side, now when you draw on the wrong side, definitely draw from point to point. And I am going to show you today how to use seam-align tape from Cluck Cluck Sew. I don't think it's exactly called that, but okay, that's the wrong side. Okay, right side. Okay. See, I'm already getting confused on my right side, wrong side. So right here, I'm going to use seam-align glue. I'm not going to save these, they're too small. My glue's not coming out, so I will just stick a pin in it. Oh my word, my glue is really not coming out. I've never actually at home, it never does this actually. It always comes out. That is so interesting. Okay, mistake number 2. There it goes. Okay. And I'm really trying to line it up very good so that I don't have the mistake I did last week. And then the same thing here. Just double checking. The dots are just so hard to see with this hoodie that I have on. So if you guys have not checked out the beginning, this is how I look. My hair is a mess. Okay, so let me just try to make sure I've got the right side. Okay, I'm gonna draw a line on these, corner to corner. Okay, this right here is gonna go on the corner of these later, so I'm gonna put those right there. And we cannot do step 2 yet because that requires step 1 to be done, so we're gonna skip that. We're gonna lay out K, D, and C. K, D, and C. And that will just be when we go, so when we go to the sewing machine here, we're gonna stitch with the open toe foot. Here we're gonna stitch with a 1/4 inch foot and do like step 1 first and then step 2. Now G and E, we also need those fabric bees. Draw a line. And this kind of just steps everything out. And you can do step by step if you would like. I like to do a lot of steps at one time. So G, I'm gonna put this. board, and then E, and you just follow. The reason we write our patterns this way is for me, because, and for you, I don't like to read directions. I just want it to be accurate. I don't like patterns that are, you have to read too much, because then I get confused. So this makes it easy. And then A and L. Now here, I'm gonna also make sure I've got it right there. Okay, now here, you got a couple options. You can do this. You could do this, or you can do this. So I'm going to do this because I think it kind of, the reason I'm going to do it this way is I feel like it kind of, since it is a tussie or a basket or whatever, I want it to kind of lean into it. So I'm going to do it this way, and you'll see the difference between it and this one, just showing you a different option. So definitely close your glue. It's actually never done that at home. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'm going to sew on that line, and then I'm going to start sewing this, and then we'll go back here, trim, and then go to the iron. And since I have the 1/4 inch foot, I'm going to go ahead and use that first to do these two. And I'm using like a 1.5 stitch length. I'll do these two. I am going to pin. Well, actually, I'm not going to pin. This is going to get trimmed down anyway, so if it's not 100% perfect, it will not matter. I'm going to cut, but I'm going to leave these two together and this one separate. Now I'm going to change my foot, and I'm going to show you how to use this tape. This is a Cluck Cluck Sew tape. I'm going to put my needle down. And I'm going to put this tape right up to that needle. And then I'm going to pull it this way. You can pull it as far as you want. And then I'm going to pull this up. You can't have it over the dogs, feed dogs. So I'm going to cut it as close as I can to that. And now when you're sewing, you can use this as a 1/4 inch seam or this as this seam. I'll show you. So I'm going to stitch on the line. But if you didn't want to draw the line, you could just keep your fabric right on that line. And at home, I do both. And then the only time I remove it is when I clean my machine. I'll move it because you have to clean everything out. And it's kind of like a washi tape, so it does not leave a residue. Okay, so now I'm going to trim these. And like I said, I used glue, so these now need to go in my little bucket of trash because there's glue on them. You can't use them. And I'm going to be pressing this entire block open. If you don't want to, you can follow the arrows on the pattern. And the arrows look like this, so you could just press that way or follow what I'm doing and press open. So I'm going to take this to the ironing board. And then just so you know, I put this white fabric down on top of this because I don't want to have to change that out, and sometimes it will get dirty. So I'm going to set my seam, press to one side. Put a clapper on it. And then the same thing here. Set your seam, and that friction pin is going to mark off and then here, let this kind of cool off with the clapper. And I'm gonna make it flat on that side and then make it flat here. And I've kept these together so that I don't have to replace them together because I've already done it. And that's my iron telling you, good morning, Piggy. Okay. Put that back over here, put a clapper on it. And then these, press open. Press open. And then I'm going to press these on the top to make sure they're nice and flat. Open. Now these I don't need in this step, so I'm going to leave them on that clapper. Okay, where did you go to see who won the giveaway? So if you're in the channel, you just go to the community tab, and all of our winners from this week have already responded. I do know that. Okay, so here I need to add these two. And the seam-align glue, is that what it's called? Yeah, seam-align glue is great, especially if you're going to do this and then come back and sew it in the morning, so you don't forget where things go and they don't move. And then that tape, I'll look up the name of the tape because it's not seam-align tape, it's something else. I was just thinking of that. Okay, so those are there. This one is going to go here, and I should have made this longer, so I'm going to cut this again. I'm going to cut a 2-inch piece longer. And the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to just cut it and not worry about the width. So I should have cut that 1/2 inch bigger instead of 1/4 inch. Okay, so right there, there's a little flaw in the fabric. Do you see it? It's like a little tiny flaw. Drives me crazy. I'm not using that. So here's a 2-inch. And I'm not even going to measure it 2 inches because it just needs to be bigger. And I'm just going to chop that off. Because you'll see in a minute it doesn't matter. I'm going to pin this. Diagonal seam tape by Cluck Cluck Sew. That's what it's called. And it's very inexpensive and well worth it. The pen and marker I'm using is a friction pen. It is disappears with heat. Some people like it, some people don't. If you live in a cold climate, the lines will come back. But I happen to live in Texas and it's not ever cold here. Flying geese paper will not work on this block because it's a weird size. Do you need a separate foot for chain piecing? No, you just don't cut after. So I've got that pinned. The clapper does help cool and it does lay everything nice and flat. So that is as far as I can go, is these steps. So I'm gonna go quarter inch, and I'm stitch on the line. I'm using a 1.5 stitch length because when you press open, if you do not do that and you do this, your seam's gonna pull right out. Oops, it stayed with the glue. So again, you can just kind of double check, keep it on that line. And then here, so I don't have to change feet, I can just put this fabric on that quarter inch and use that as a guide instead of my foot. Okay, so from here, I'm going to trim this. I know what I would like from FQS for Christmas. Everything on my wish list. Oh, that's sweet. I did buy matching pajamas for my family, and they came yesterday, and my kids just looked at me like I was out of my mind. I hid them from Kevin, so he doesn't know yet. Okay, we're going to go press these. So I sew when I'm sewing the, now you can see how much flatter they are. When I sew on this line, I sew directly on the line. I do not go to the left or the right. Some people do. Okay. Press this open. And then go back and press this open. I like to finger press with my finger first. And right there, I can just kind of tell it's not all the way flat. Okay, so now we've done this step right here. We're going to move to step 2. That is our F and our H. So here's the F. And I'm going to lay this just like, it's important to lay the flying geese with the tips at the top, just like the pattern. Oh, on the F's and the G's, I was supposed, or the F's and the H's, I was supposed to make 2 squares and only cut 1. So I need the pink fabrics again. Oh my gosh. So sorry. It's really hard to do this on camera, guys. So I'm just gonna cut from right here on the corner. 2.75. Make sure everything is out of the way. If I have a layer cake and 2 packs of 5-inch, will that be enough for 6-inch? Just wing it and see. There's no way for me to know off the top of my head. The fabric requirements are just a guide. So on the wrong side of my F's, I'm gonna draw a line. I do use an exact 1/4 inch. I do not do scant. I think it's because I learned that way. And so that's what I do. Now, I know some other people do it a different way, but I just use 1/4 inch. When cutting, do you line the ruler up against or on top of the fabric? Sometimes my block is a hair short, so I think my ruler was off. I try to just put it right on the edge. Okay, so these are at the top, and I'm going to put my F's this way. And I'm not even reading the instructions, I'm just looking. So here, I'm going to put my glue here. And I'm trying to make it to where this is right on the edge, this is right on the tip, and from the front you can't see the back, and from the back you can't see the front. So I'll put that there. And the glue on this one is really good because this one can get tricky, and so I won't have everything the wrong direction, hopefully. So I've got that. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna come back and do the H's, and then we'll do the rest of this in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take this, put everything on the board. Press open. Okay, so this is really hot. So when I put my H's, the pin mark might go away. And you just want your pin mark, you want your pin to go that way. So you're creating this. And anytime, when I was first quilting, I would kind of do this to make sure it was going the right way. Okay. I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch away. And I'm going to go press these. So I'm going to let this sit a little bit. Okay, so this should be 2 3/4 by 5. What I'm going to do before I go on is I'm going to trim any excess off. It looks pretty good, but I'm just going to look. And right there, a tiny bit came off. Oh, and then here, it's a little long. So I'm just going to just kind of clean it up a little bit. What did I do before Fat Quarter Shop? I was a CPA, I guess am a CPA, and I worked the Big 6 accounting firm. I worked investment banking, and I worked venture capital. I will not be doing the Lori Holt Hometown Sew Along because it is applique. And I don't enjoy applique, so I don't do it. Now, okay, so here, if you look at this, it's a little bit, it's about a 1/4 inch wider, 1/8 of an inch wider than the 5 inches. So I'm gonna try to trim, but try to keep this point on there. So it's just a tiny bit off. But I'd rather, so that looks pretty good. So I've done that on both. Now that's an optional step. I do that when I don't use the flying geese paper because I like it to not be crazy in the next thing, the next step. Okay, so we've got page 1 done. I'm gonna start laying things out before I start trimming units. So this goes here. Okay, so I have this laid out. And I can sew this to this right here. So I'm going to pin that. The magnetic thing, we are working on something different for these. Okay, so now I need to trim this down. I'm going to show it to you visually before I cut. Okay, so this was supposed to be 2 3/4. 2 3/4 minus a 1/4 inch is 2 1/2. So I'm going to draw a line right here, 2 1/2 from that seam. I'm going to do the same thing over here, 2 1/2. So that needs to go in there. I'm not trimming that because I want to trim that off when the block is done. So I'm going to trim right here. And I do at home use the friction pin to kind of do that just to make sure it looks right before I cut it. So I'm only cutting right here. Now when I do that, we're going to trim this later, but I need to sew this to this. So to do that, I'm going to, before I do that, trim this down. Actually, I'm going to do both of these. Trim these to 2 3/4 by 5. That gets any of the excess off. 2 3/4. It just gets that little tiny bit off. And totally optional, it's just something I do. Okay. So I'm going to sew this to this. I'm going to pin that together. And I'm going to pin this together, but before I do that, I'm going to mark 1/4 inch here, 1/4 inch here. Put those together, and I'm going to poke a pin. So I'm going to, well actually you could do it from this side too, makes it easier. Put the pin right in that 1/4 inch seam. Now if you have a bigger stitch length, your stitches might start coming out at this point, so that's why I stitch with a tiny seam. Poke right there. Okay, now right here it's longer. Just ignore that. We're going to trim that off later. Don't worry about that. The top should line up. And then the blocks that you can trim down and cut down later are mostly square, rectangulars, easy blocks like that. Now I need to sew this to this. I'm going to do that same thing. And it's bigger. But I want it to be just like this because I'm going to trim this and this. So you line up this left part. And I think this is from when I had a double blade. Oh my gosh, this costume is so hot, y'all. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating. Okay, here, this. We need to do that same thing. This corner. So K was 1 5/8. So 1 5/8 minus 1/4 inch is 1 3/8. So I'm going to mark 1 3/8 from that line. And I'm just going to use my regular rulers because that's what I use. And I'm going to do the same thing here. 1 2 3. And it should be about 1/4 inch. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to check my math again just to make sure. K 1 3/8. So when I'm cutting this, I'm going to just do both sides at the same time so that everything is lined up. So I'm going to put, and I want it to be lined up here and here. Okay, yeah, I'm not in the right spot. So triple check before you cut. And then it's going to be taller and wider. You're going to ignore that. You're going to just line up this corner. And when I'm done, I think you will see how this works. Yes, you can always use a Bella Solid. And then this one's going to also be bigger. Just put this on the other side. And then from here, everything is just 1/4 inch seams. And of course, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I am going a little bit off of the instructions, like a little bit off. When I get to like start building the block, I kind of skip to here. That's just what I do, but we write it this way so that you can, it's easy so you don't make a mistake. Hopefully I won't make another mistake. Now from here, I do use my 1/4 inch foot. I use this for the center line, but some people use it for both, but I generally just use it for that center line. Okay, so that matches up the little intersection, and I'm keeping these chained together because they're going to be sewn together next. And then I'm going to sew this one. Okay, I'm going to let my iron warm up a little bit. It went to sleep. Okay. Same thing, set your seam, and then even though this is bigger up here, you can still press open. And again, at this point, you can press according to the arrows in the pattern or press open. I would recommend on the 3-inch block to always press open. That one would almost be impossible to do without pressing open because of the way the seams are. Now this one, like I said, I kept it chained together because they're going to get sewn together, so that way I don't have to place it again. And you can see that's how I got that point to match. Okay. So this should be the top. Looks correct. We've got this and this. And so first thing we're going to do is pin this, sew with a 1/4 inch seam, press, and then pin this. So I'm going to put my pins here. And I'm going to line up the seam and pin. Why switch the 1/4 inch foot to the open toe foot? That is how I get everything so accurate. A lot of people don't like that I do that. That's just what works for me. Now here, we're gonna do that same thing where we mark. Why glue pieces rather than pin? You can pin. I just happen to like that glue, keeping it in place, and I find that I have more accuracy. But definitely, you know, I used it. I went 20 years without using glue, so you don't have to. So I'm poking right on that seam. Right on that seam. Now, technically, if you sewed 100% accurate and cut 100% accurate, you wouldn't really even have to pin there, but obviously that's probably not realistic. So you're gonna see that I have a lot of pins here and not as many here, so I'm gonna switch that out. I switch it from my sewing machine to my table all the time. And that matches, and that matches. Okay, now I'm gonna press this. Now, one thing that I think is good is let me press this down real flat and let that clapper sit on that. Okay, so from here, I'm going to sew this to this. And to do that, this little point right here needs to line up on here. And this, like I said, is extra, so do not worry about lining this up. Only worry about this intersection and this intersection. So the first thing I'm going to do is line this up on the left. There's nothing that needs to match here. Here, I'm just going to make sure it lines up. And then I'm going to sew this seam. Yay, it matches. Here. I think I can pin here. We'll see. Okay, so for here, I'm going to line this up, and then these hang over. So you just look and peek. And then the same thing here. And then sew with a 1/4 inch seam. And I'm going to look and see if everything lined up. Ooh, that one lined up really good. That's off like a 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to unpick that. So I'm going to unpick from here to here. And I think I've said it before, but when you stitch with a 1.5 stitch length, it's really hard to get your stitches out. So I'm going to pull the stitches every 3 or 4. And I'm using Aurifil 2000. It really blends into the fabric well. That's kind of the color I always use, but because it blends in, that is a disadvantage when you're trying to pull the stitches out because you can barely see them. So almost. So on one side, I'm just going every couple stitches. Let's see. From the other side, I'm going to try to just pull and see if it'll come out. It might not. Because there's a lot of stitches here. Okay, so when you pull, that other side should just come right out. Because I've already and then here, those are kind of hard to come out, so I'm going to just do it from here. And then if you're doing this and any of these seams start coming apart, that means your stitch length is too long. Now I am going to make sure I get all of the little threads out. Okay, I'm going to repin right there. There's a little thread. And I'm going to start right here. I'm going to leave a gap here and go to the end. And now it matches up. So then I'm going to turn it over and sew from here to here, but cover my previous stitches. And that looks better. Okay, so now I'm going to press to one side. Then press open. Now right here, because I fixed that, there's a little stitch right there. Hold on, where is it? Right there. You got to cut that or it won't lie flat. And then it'll kind of look funny on the front too. Okay, so now I'm going to trim this. There's a couple of ways you can trim it. You can trim it this way, or you can use this. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it a little bit, I'm going to use this. This is what I do at home. Now, it's important to not just start trimming. You got to line this, one of these lines up. So like this line. And then from here, you want to make sure this little intersection is right at the 1/4 inch and this is at the 1/4 inch. And trim. And then the same thing, you want to line up the top, which I'm going to do with my head. Sorry, but that's what I do at home. And you've got that 1/4 inch right there. Trim that off. And then your 1/4 inch right there. Okay, so here, 1/4 inch, there's a little bit, okay, that is a little bit sticking out, like It's a little loopy. I'm gonna cut that just so it's a little bit off, and then do it again. Okay. I'm gonna cut right there, and then I'm gonna cut this one down here separately. So it's not gonna be 100% straight across, but it'll be close. And then I'm going to answer questions. So any questions on Sewcialites, drop it in. And it somehow is exactly 9.5 inches. So I wonder how that happened. So again, like kind of in summary, I didn't make these larger. The reason I didn't make them larger is you need that to be 1/4 inch away. But I made this, this, and this larger because they're squares, and you can do the math. There's no corner square on them. So, and you want to try to make sure your little things line up, and hopefully I've made it correctly. Now when you look at this, the difference is I made my stripe go this way, Teresa made her stripe go this way. In the end, when you put it in a quilt, does it really matter? Probably not. When you look at the block, you know, you're looking at the detail. I do pay attention to the details while I'm doing the block. You do not have to. So this is the Tussie Mussy block by Susan Aki. Completely free pattern in 3-inch, 6-inch, and 9-inch, only at Fat Quarter Shop. You can join our Sewcialites lounge. I'm going to show you a little bit from that in a minute, but I'm going to answer questions first. Okay, how do you like the new Rowenta steam iron? Thinking of getting me one. I love it, but it's expensive. The biggest thing is, and we'll maybe show a pop-up next week or something, when it's on, if the light on the top right is blinking, do not start ironing with it because it will start spitting stuff out. It has to be 100% heated up before you touch it, and it's hot. But I would say the disadvantages are you've got to make sure that it's fully heated before you use it, and it's expensive. I giggle every time the piggy head comes into view. Oh, that's so funny. Well, it's hot. So hot. Okay, Kimberly mentioned that the size of pins can affect the seam. Yes. Okay, my pins, I left them over there. Okay, so now this is totally, this is personal opinion, so it's not like fact. I used to love some pins that I think they were clover, but they discontinued them. So I started using the Little House pins. They're made in Japan. They are very expensive, and they're very hard for us to get because we order them directly from Japan. We don't have a distributor in the US, so it takes like 3 months to get them. But my friend Ann Sutton used to talk about them all the time, and I had heard like Lisa talk about them, Lisa Alexander, so I thought, you know, let me try them. I think the biggest thing is, we're going to zoom in. We're going to use some of that fabric that we didn't use. Okay, so I don't think you have to spend a lot of money on pins. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I think you need to get a thin pin, because if your pin is super thick, I'm trying to think if I have one here. I don't have one. I don't think I have one here, but when you put your pin in, nothing should shift. If you have a thicker pin and you put it in, it might put a bigger hole and it might shift. So as long as you can put your pin in and it do this, you're fine. I prefer them to be longer, but not too long. So I use the Little House pins. I liked my clover ones better. They were so inexpensive, and they just discontinued them. My favorite seam picker, oh yes, is right here. I only use this one. And the other day I broke it. Well, I didn't break it. I have this daughter. She got glitter all over it. She like got glitter all and glue. So I didn't have one for a weekend. I had to use a different one and it was horrible. So I just used this one. It's simple. It's called Clover. It's just a white seam ripper. When you're working with a seam ripper, I don't want this to be too fat, because if it's too fat, you can't get under the seams. So it needs to be skinny enough and sharp enough to get under the seams. So this is the one I use. So I did want to show you, if that block, Tussie Mussy, is too hard, you can go to Sewcialites 1 and download block 31 called Noble. It's also by Susan Aki, and I also have a video making it. So if this is too hard, go to Sewcialites 1. They're the same size blocks. And I am going to show you some blogs that were made and posted in the Sewcialites Lounge. That is a Facebook group. And we're going to be posting our updates, weekly updates there. You can ask questions. So this is Jean G. Jackson. And so she made hers in the flower farm from that's last week's, right? Yeah, last week's. And then this one is by Cindy Peterson, and I thought her picture was so cute with the salvages. And then Kim Clements Arnold. And when you look at these blogs, you can just look at the fabric placement. They all did a little bit different. And then this is Christy Reg, and that is Flower Pot. And then this one is by Alice McFarlane. Okay, so definitely you can download this free pattern. Let's see, we're going to take a little intermission and we will be right back. we're going to talk about support group now. I'm not going to look at myself in the camera because I look so crazy. And it's going to bother me if I look. So support group is still going on. So Gina Tell made this quilt and is auctioning it off. And right now the auction is around $820. So if you would like a quilt made by Gina Tell, designed by Lori Holt, that auction, 100% of the proceeds will go to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. And we have raised $10,700, and then with Kevin and I and Lori's donation, it will be $21,520. So that is so awesome. And then another thing I could talk about real quick is this sew along is going on, and we're going to show a pop-up of a really cool quilt. I saw this yesterday and loved it. So I'm not going to read it because I'll cry. But I love that. And I think I'm not sure where she got the letters, if she got that from a Lori pattern, spelling bee or not, but I love it. And I love that somehow we are making a difference. But I did want to let you know tomorrow in Austin is an event. It's called Repel Austin. It's hosted by Make-A-Wish. And Patton, who we granted her wish last year, she raised money. I donated. You have to raise $1,500 and you have to be 100 pounds and you go down like 29 floors from the top of the building to the bottom. So me and Will are going to go watch her tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then her mom invited me to like a little lunch where we can see people rappel, and Will's going to try to do it next year. So I'm like, continuing the tradition. So next year, if he has to get to 100 pounds, he's not close. But if he gets to 100 pounds, he's going to rappel down, and then I'll probably ask you guys for donations because I don't have enough friends to raise $1,000 in real life. Okay, so that's tomorrow. So definitely bid on this. And that is in eBay, and Ashley can provide a link. And I did want to let you know that this is starting next week. This is Scrappiness Is Happiness Quilt Along. So this starts Monday. It's going to be 32 weeks total. Here are your fabric requirements, and I will be sewing with the PRAIRIE Fat Quarter Bundle. We do have some scrappy bundles on our site you can use. You can do either. Those kind of go in and out of stock based on fabric delivery. So if it's not here this week, it might be next, but I'm going to be sewing on PRAIRIE. And you can join me not next Monday, but the week from Monday, November 7th at 7 p.m. Central Time, and I'm going to have tips for the blocks. But next Monday, you can go to Lori Holt's channel, and she is going to be doing a demo of the first block in the book, because we're going alphabetically, the Buzzy Bee block. So if you want tips on that, go to Lori's channel. If you want tips from me, you'll come November 7th at night. And I will be showing you my block and any tips that I came up with, because I do piece a little bit differently than Lori. So just a reminder that that's coming up. All the information is on the blog. I think it's going to be super popular, and I can't wait to see in Kimberly Stitch Squad on Facebook and on Instagram some photos. Next up, Teresa has been sewing along with this. And Teresa and I both, so we're kind of splitting it. This one is our Bliss Quilt Along. And so in the Sew Sampler, you get recipe cards. And 4 have come out so far. So I just wanted to show, Teresa got these put into a row. And you can see, you know, some of it's pressed open, some of it's not. Like I say, kind of whatever day it is what we do. And I wanted to show you that. That is the kit. The kit was designed by Joanna Figueroa. And then in, like in 4 months, I'll show you row 2, because it's, let's see, the pattern's in here, you can see it. So we're gonna kind of show, we're piecing it this way. And so when we get, let's see, 4, oh, it's gonna go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But basically, as we sew the sections, we'll be showing you. And it's really pretty. This part is really pretty. So you'll have that to look forward to. I would say on these flying geese that paper would be a great idea. Foundation paper. And thank you to Carol for the super chat. Thank you to Kimberly and FQS. We love you. Thank you. And then Carrie asked, will the patterns always be released early like this one? So basically, my answer to that is officially, we will always say it's going to release Friday. If you're sneaky, you can find it on Thursday. The reason why is it has to be online by midnight for the search engine to pick it up the next day so that y'all can find it in the search. So that is my answer. Okay, this I'm so excited about. Oh my gosh. So this video came out. The video is called Prairie Flowers, Quilt Seeds, and Updates on Prairie Projects on the Lori Holt channel. And I loved it. So these are the quilt patterns. There's 6. And they come in a seed packet. And we have all of these. These are published by Riley Blake. So we have all of these individually at our shop as patterns or as block kits. And I've shown you the blocks before, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the video and everything. So this is purple. Miss Kimberly does not like purple, so I just could not put this in the quilt. So I watched her video, and I'm going to show you some pop-up of some images of what Lori did. So she took the 6 blocks and she published a free pattern. It's a free setting pattern. You obviously need to buy the Quilt Seeds. And here are photos of what she did, and it's so awesome. I was watching that on the way to a football game, and I got to the football game. I was so inspired. I got out my binder. I always have a binder with me, and I started writing notes, and then when I went home, I emailed everybody. So I took her idea and changed it a little bit. So I want you to just look at this. It's got 6 blocks across. Oh, yeah, it's going to be hard to see. We'll hold it up in a second, but I wanted to kind of talk about what I did. So, or what Teresa did, because Teresa did this. So, Teresa made all of the blocks according to the kits, and so those are all different backgrounds. But when I was watching Lori's video, she said what you could do is if you use an odd number, you could flip the blocks. So these are straight, these are flipped, and I just picked a random order for them to go in and then changed it. So on Lori's, she has 23 scallops at the top and 8 on the side. This is a free pattern. You download this on Riley Blake's website. So what Teresa did is she changed this to be 19 wide. And then to make it fit, she just cut this right here, 1/2 inch skinnier. And then a little bit, you know, obviously this would be shorter by the size of a block and a sashing. So another thing that I did differently is right here, she used 2 different backgrounds. So she used a background here and then a background here, and then she had a big cornerstone right here. So I decided to just use a background that wasn't used in here. So the background I used is 6384 Sea Glass. And I just had Teresa make it and then don't do a cornerstone. Then another thing Lori had is she had this with a cornerstone. I wanted to use kind of a really big bold print, and I didn't think it would look, I think the cornerstone, if you use a print like this, would get lost. So I just didn't do a cornerstone. I just did 12550 sea glass. And then for this right here, the scallop border, I did 12301-coral. And then I picked this binding. That's how it's going to look. 12023 sea glass. And so you'll see some of these are part of the Prairie collection, some are not. And the reason why is I just wanted to have fun. I wanted something that would really match my house, and I have a lot of aqua in my house. But I love that video. It's my favorite video Lori's ever done. Now my backing, Teresa pieced this, and what she did is so awesome. I cannot believe it. We used the same fabric that's on the border. And then right on the seam, she basically did my little, can we zoom in a little bit? She did my technique, except she hand stitched it down, and it looks beautiful. So that is gonna be what we do going forward, because it looks so much better than that top stitch. I guess I've never tried because I always thought it would be too hard to stitch, but I guess it's doable. So I'm gonna start that. Now Lori's quilt finishes 44 by 89, so super wide, and she said in her video it's great for the end of a king size bed. Now mine, because I took the purple out, finishes 44 by 77, so it would fit on the top of a king size bed, but it would look kind of funny. So it would look, mine would look better on a queen size bed. Okay, now I'm gonna answer some questions. Oh, we've got some super chats. Thank you. Sally's Rock, thank you. Janet Ridling, thank you. And then Trinan Harrell, thank you. Thank you so much. Piggy says thank you. Where can I get a small binder like that? What does she mean though?
Bliss.
Oh, binder. I thought you meant binding. Okay, this, sorry, Amazon.com. I thought you meant this. This is a new Riley Blake tool. I don't know what it's called, but it's Quilty Tools. I don't know, it's a search binding. Do I have a piece backing fabric requirements for Scrappiness Is Happiness? No, but I am doing something super fun, and I will talk you through that at the end of the sew along. So basically, anytime I'm doing something like that, I just buy the fabric requirements we give you, and then I just adjust it to work. So let me know what you think of this. I love it. I'm gonna try to hold it up though, so you can see it from the front. So give us a second to try to figure out that. Tell me when to go up or down. It's so pretty. I'm so excited. I love it so much. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but it's definitely going somewhere in my house. I think I'm going to hang it from a fireplace in my bedroom. I love it. This is like one of my favorite things I have made. And actually, I didn't make it. Teresa made it. I didn't have time to make it, but I was like so excited. I love it so much. So we're going to send this to the quilter. Is that fabric printer paper of my signature? No. So right here, this is a label that I bought on Sweetwater's website, and they sell labels that are pre-made by color. And this one I think is from the red. And I need to buy some more sheets. Teresa's been doing my piece backing. So, there. Okay. So that is Prairie Flowers. Sorry, we have a lot. And I think that I'm getting overheated with my little piggy outfit. I'm being dramatic. Okay, so this is Bountiful. I wanted to show you kind of a behind the scenes. So this is a little mock-up that Jocelyn does. It's paper, and it is kind of for me and Kevin to proofread. So we proof like the barcode, the front, you know, we just look at it. And Kevin is great. I mean, he is so great at colors and stuff. So he always looks at this stuff. And here's the box. This is our prototype. So just kind of like a little behind the scenes of Bountiful. And we also got a sample of our floss keeper. So these are just our samples. So this is not anything that I can actually take home or use yet, which is so sad. And then this is our bag. And the bag is made really big so that you can put your blocks in it. So super cute. So all of this are additional notions that are on our coming soon page. And when we release those, I was going to kind of talk about that. When we release them, they're not all released on the same day, because this is made by one company. This is made by a different company. And this is also made by different companies. So when they come in, we load them, and obviously the kit is made by Moda. So we kind of just load them at different times, and that's kind of a behind the scenes why. So this is so cute. So Jessica works on our social media team, and you can follow her on Instagram this weekend because she is at Quilt Market standing in for Kevin and I. And she made these, and it's really cute. So this is a spooky season garland. So this says spooky. I'm going to move it up. And she used a jelly roll of Spooky Darlings collection by Ruby Star and scraps from Ruby Star, and then Bella Solids. Like this is Bella Solid 99, I think. And she showed this as a reel. And this is just a black Bella Solid. And she took the free pattern that came out years ago. It's called Spell It with Fabric. And it's all pieced. And it's a completely free pattern you can find on Moda Fabric's website or on fatquartershop.com, and you just download it. So she just took it, and this is a jelly roll. So a lot of them are, you know, jelly roll friendly, and then these would be scraps. So she used jelly roll for the letters and then scraps for the bigger pieces. And it looks so cute. And so cute. And then she just quilted them with like a really light weight, and then she put this this on. She just top stitched it all the way across. So she made a binding, then flipped it over, and there's no raw edges. The raw edges are way in here. And if you have any questions on any of this, just put it in the comments and she'll answer, because she's the one who answers you guys. So cute. I wanted to show you guys. And this is on her cube, so it's so cute. I don't want to get it wrinkled. And then she also made this. This is so cute. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So she made this with leftover jelly rolls from the letters. So she was going to, she sewed the jelly rolls together, and she was going to make a backing. And she thought, you know what, why waste so much time on that? I want people to be able to see what I made. So I want you to be able to see all of them. They're so cute. So some are jelly rolls, scraps. Some are just one fabric. This is just appliqued right on top. Yeah, so she was going to put this right here, the scraps of the jelly rolls, on the back of the letters, but then she thought nobody will see it. So she just has black on the back of her letters or scraps. And then she used the Creative Grids kaleidoscope ruler. So she just, and you can watch the reel on our Facebook or Instagram and see how you did it, because she has it stepped out. So she just basically cut the front and the back, sewed it right sides together, flipped it out at the top, and then you just put this down. You don't even have to sew the top. So cute. So thank you to Jessica for that. It's so cute. And then some of these are white on the back, some are different. And anytime you're doing something like this, you can just put like a Bella Solid on the back. And this one doesn't have batting, but the letters did. Okay, so for this next part, I wanted to tell you something fun we did on our blog. Marissa did a really fun post of quilting horror stories for Halloween, because, you know, we're festive. So we want you to go and enter, because there's going to be a giveaway there, $50 gift certificate to Fat Quarter Shop, and post your horror story. But I'm going to tell you mine. So I have a nephew. At the time, he was not my nephew. He was, you know, a kid of a guy I was dating's nephew. He's now, what year are we in? He's 21 or 20, and he's like getting he's at UT, and he's getting his like mechanical, I don't know, astronaut physics, I don't know, he's really smart. Let's just say that. So he is now at UT. So this is like a long time ago. I think it was probably 23 years ago, because it was when she was pregnant with him. I don't know, it was like 20, 21 years ago. So it had to be longer than that. He must be older. Anyway, I had made my first quilt, which is the blue and yellow quilt you guys have seen. And I thought, you know, I'm going to make something really cute for this little boy, you know, make bonus points for this guy that I'm dating, who now happens to be my husband. And I thought, oh, he'll really like that. I'm going to really impress him. At the time, there was a book out called Stack and Whack by Bethany Reynolds. It was like all the rage. And it was like you would cut one piece of fabric in the same spot, and it would spiral and make like a mirror image. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. I made this whole quilt. It was so hard. It was on the bias. It was so cute. And I made it was like Humpty Dumpty fabric from Joann's, because at the time, like, I had no idea what I was doing. I was buying cheap fabric. And in my first class, this was my second quilt, I was like really scared of the teacher, because she like had all these rules, and anytime I asked about thread or why should you use one brand over another or what's the difference, she would like bark at us. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely not going to go to that store and ask, because I was too scared. So I went to Joann's and I bought a pen. Let me see. So it was like, you know how you have like a white pencil? I don't think we even have one in here. It was like a marking pencil. So, you know, there's like marking pencils. Friction pens did not exist 20 years ago. Or if they did, they weren't in the quilting world. So I bought a pencil and it was black. Who knows what I was thinking? And I was going to quilt it. So I marked it all up. I quilted it and I just threw it in the washer and thought, I like bound it, everything, threw it in the washer and thought, oh, the markings will come out. Why in the world did I think? Anyway, that quilt went in the trash. It would be really funny if I had it now. I ended up making him something else, but I actually have no idea what I made him. I think I made him like a row quilt, like row with not chenille, but like a chenille-ish type fabric. I think that's what I ended up doing. But yeah, that's my horror story. So we want you to go to the blog. That's really fun. We're celebrating Halloween. Go there and put your horror story, and I'm going to go read them. Will Jessica be doing Christmas letters? I don't know. We'll ask her. Super chat from Susan Earl. Thank you for all you do. I'm learning so much. Huge shout out to Ann B in shipping. Super helpful and lovely to chat with. Yes, she is awesome. She's worked for us for a long time. Do the boxes come with the Bountiful kit? Yes. So that big box is what the kit comes packaged in. The smaller box is sold separately. So this week on our YouTube channel, I wanted to show you this release. This is the Layer Cake Tumble pattern. It's a shortcut video, and it is a free pattern. So download it, add it to your free pattern section, and then this is the quilt. And really easy. So here's your block right here. And you rotate it. So this is a great beginner pattern. It would make a great picnic. Like if you wanted to have a quilt that you take for picnics or 4th of July, this would be great because it wouldn't be too much work. And if you mess it up or get it dirty, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I wanted to show it to you in some different fabric collections so that you could kind of visualize it and see what it looks like and different. This one right here is Picnic Pop by me and my sister Designs. And Jocelyn designed this, Teresa pieced it, and Joanna Marsh quilted it. And we have a quilt kit of this one. The next ones we don't have a quilt kit, but we're just showing it to you to give you inspiration. So the first one uses Bird Song. The second one uses Bon Voyage. This is Happiness Blooms, and I'm not a fan of green, but I love that. It looks pretty. And then Rendezvous by Three Sisters. And then Zinnia by April Rosenthal. Super fun. And then I'm going to show you some blocks that Carrie made. So at the beginning of the year, we showed you, she actually picks all of the fabric that go in the fabric clubs, like the fat quarter clubs. And so for the solid fat quarter club, she came out with this color layout. And if you were in the club in 2022 from January to December, you would be able to end up making this with this pattern and this ruler. This is the Starburst ruler. And I was going to just show you her blocks, and if you want to do this, you can do it also by joining our solid club and just do it with the colors of 2023. And the theme this year was, I'm trying to think of what the theme was this year. Do you remember what? Gemstones. Okay, yeah, gemstones was the theme this year, and then she used birds as like birds and the colorings of birds for 2023. So it's like January, February. I don't know if they're in an exact order. And she's a beginner, so you can definitely do it. And then, so this is a pattern. You can get it as paper or PDF. And then this is a free guide and layout. And it tells you like how many blocks to make each each month. And like this is 1 month, so you make five, and it shows you, it makes, it's pretty clear. And that banner would be cute if it looked like candy corn. That would be cute. So great job, Carrie. Those look so pretty. So when she gets it all pieced and quilted, we'll show it in live stream. And then we're gonna show you, we're gonna do tabletop because I am hot and I don't think I can hold up any quilts right now because I'm sweating so bad. So we're gonna show you the kits on the table. The first one is called Square Peg. This features the Emma collection by Sherry and Chelsea, and all of the quilts I'm about to show you, all four are Jolly Bar kits. And a Jolly Bar is 5 by 10 inches. And all of these, you can get the Jolly Bar with the free pattern, or you can buy the kit that has all the fabric for the backgrounds and the binding. So this one is 60 by 60. Angel designed all of these that you're about to see. Rebecca pieced this one, and Michelle Ramsey quilted this one. And I'm gonna look at the back for a label, because sometimes Angel has a label. No label. This next one is called Cinnamon Twist. This one I would say is more experienced, but it's basically 4 blocks. Sorry. Yeah. So there's 4 blocks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this big sashing. This is pieced by Teresa, quilted by Gina Tell, and it's 80 inches square, and it uses more than 1 Jolly Bar. Now, one thing I wanted to show you, we're going to zoom into this fabric. This is a background that has a little bit going on. It's not a white on white, but it adds a texture. So don't be afraid to use things that are not a Bella Solid or a Kona cotton. You can always use something. I do like to have backgrounds that have a little bit of texture, and this one's good because it goes with a lot of like the green and orange fabrics that Joanna has throughout the years. And then I'll show you the back. We did kind of a light fabric. This next one is called Hedge Roses. This is the Flower Farm collection by Bunny Hill, and I love this collection, and her next collection coming out is similar and goes well with it, so that's pretty exciting. This one is 64 inches square, also designed by Angel. Sarah Campbell quilted this one, and this one here, just talking about backgrounds, this is a white on white dot that's used, and then this gives it some, this is a different background that gives it kind of like it doesn't all blend in. It lets the block stand out. But on something like this, you could always do the same fabric here and here if you wanted to. But anytime I look at a quilt, just look at what you can do to kind of make it yours. And I'm going to show you the label on this one. Or Piggy's going to show you. So it says Hedge Roses Angel 722. So she made this in July. And this is really cool. She used the leftovers from here. This is cross stitch, by the way, and a back stitch. She used leftovers, like leftover Jolly Bar from the front, used that same block on the back. And then she put this around it, and I think it's really cute because she has this centered. And the secret garden bloomed and bloomed, and every morning revealed new miracles. Frances Hodgson Burnett. So really cute, and it has the little flowers that kind of blends in. So really fun. This next quilt is called Fair and Square. It's 48 inches square. And this one features Isabella, which is that same fabric that I showed you that I am collecting the pinks, light blues, and reds from. Angel designed this one. Taryn pieced it, and Susan Smith quilted it. So, super fun. And now I'm going to show you some new things in the shop. So we cut half-yard bundles here at Fat Quarter Shop, and we had to kind of stop cutting them for a while, but now we can. So I'm so excited to be able to show them to you again, because for a long time we had to stop cutting them. This is Cinnamon and Cream by Fig Tree. You just saw a quilt using it. This is Rendezvous by Three Sisters, and this just arrived yesterday. And this is Pansies Posies by Robin Pickens. So Fig Tree, Three Sisters, Robin Pickens, really, really fun. And I like the half yards because you can really see the movement. And like I said here, this collection also has a background, but it was so fun on that quilt to be able to put something different. And then I got an email, well, not an email, we have a product request form. Now, we cannot always do this, so I can't promise you we can always do it. But we had a request, somebody wanted black and white Fat Quarter bundles, so we just made one. So this is like Janet Wecker-Frisch, I think. And then this is the designer Allie Kay, maybe from Dallas, from Moda. Zippers. So Carrie put this bundle together. So and this is some Zen Chic, I think. So we try to do this when we can. It depends how much staffing we have. And really cute, black and white. This one's cute. And so little raindrops. So that's a new bundle. It's just called like black and white Fat Quarter bundle. And then we took the collection, Threads That Bind, and we made two different bundles. So this is a 1 yard pack. No, this is the panel pack. So this panel pack has 6 pieces in it. And this is the Blackbird Designs collection. And we have some fun bag kits using this. This is my favorite one. I do not starch after I finish my blocks. I only starch before. So that's the panel bundle. So it's got, like her rhubarb, purple, really pretty. And then we put together a 1 yard bundle. So these, you can actually take these off and then put them back on. They're just, they're called bands. So this one is more of a sampler pack with 1 yards. So we've got cream, tan. This has the purple, the plum, pomegranate. Cream. And then green. So that's kind of our newer stuff. And then we got some new notions that I love. So if you know me, I love notebooks. That's like my favorite thing. I could like just have boxes and boxes of notebooks that I never look at, that I just look at and never use. So these came in this week. These are by Melody Miller. And so this one has grids. And I never really knew how to write on grids, but I got a grid notebook recently. Y'all are going to see in an upcoming video. And I kind of wrote some notes, and you just use it as a line. And then this one also, same thing. So those are set of 2 Daydream notebooks. This one is called Set of 2 Beloved Animals Notebooks, Sarah Watts. I'm trying to take this off. Piggy's trying to take it off. So this one has graph paper. And then this one, oh my gosh, this is so cute. So when I said I got out my notebook and started taking notes at a football game, I like notebooks like this because I am a lot going on and I tend to forget things. So I try to write them down when I can. So this is Set of 3 Honey Notebooks by Alexia Abig. So one is lined, one is, this one would be kind of hard to use because it's got plus signs. And this one also has plus signs. Really cute. And then, oh my gosh, we got this. I love it. So this is Quilty Calendar 2023. We didn't buy too many of them just because it's dated, but I think it's really cute. I already bought one. So in the front, it has some stuff for projects. And it's just something you could do birthdays. You could put your notes, keep track of what you're doing. It is a smaller calendar. But all of the blocks right here are free videos on the Riley Blake website. Riley Blake YouTube channel. So I'll just kind of flip through. I think it's really cute. I like the colors. And then back here there are some grids, and then back here are like little kind of like reference guides. And then, oh my gosh, this is so cute. This is a Prairie quilted bag by Lori. And so in it is gingham, and then at the top is this little thing that you put in at the bottom so it stays in place. And these, we do have a lot of these, so you have plenty of time to buy these. I'm going to answer questions, and then we're going to do the giveaway. So I only have a couple questions in here, so let's see. Pamela says, should I plan on buying 8.5 to 9 yards for background, and I was going to use the same background for Barnstar Sampler? Should I order a bolt? Yes, you should order a bolt because that Barnstar Sampler uses a ton of fabric. I'm already starting working on those blocks, and yeah, they're pretty big. Are Jolly Bars cut so they shrink the same direction if starched? Yes, they are. They're cut the same way. So I think they shrink on the 4.5 inch side or the 5 inch side, and they become 4 3/4 by 10. Okay, so November 7th, we are going to have a live stream that's live. We're going to test that out, see what you guys think. We're not going to change anything else. We're still going to have our Fridays, but we're just going to try it. Obviously, it's not going to be every week or even every month. We're just going to try it, see what you guys think. And that one, I'm going to really go into detail on tips, because if we put them in the Sewcialites video, they're going to get lost. So I didn't want kind of like all that teaching to get lost. So 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and November 7th. I have a cousin who likes jewel tones. Any recommendations for fabrics? I've been searching in boutiques to be the ones that are more jewel tone, but they're not my favorite. maybe Ruby Star. Maybe some solids. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe people in the comments can help. I know Peach can help because she knows all the fabrics. Have you ever done a tutorial on how to size up or size down a quilt block? Yes, we did. We did one as a YouTube member video on sizing down from the brick house block. So if you are a YouTube member, you can get to that. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Our giveaway this week, we're going to give away 3 spooky boxes. To enter, drop a comment when the video is over and tell me what your favorite Halloween fabric is that Fat Quarter Shop is selling. You have until Tuesday, November 1st at midnight to enter. We'll pick 3 winners on Wednesday and announce them on the YouTube community tab. I hope all of you have a great weekend, and I make sure to follow us this weekend because Jessica's at Quilt Market and you're going to get to see lots of new things. So follow us there, and we will be having a bundle giveaway also on our blog next week from Market. So you'll want to check that out, and I will see you guys next week.